Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel. And in this one we have the adjusted Hecarim. And I say it like that because he's really been buffed, hasn't he? The tank build, obviously, that has been nerfed via duration removal, or reduction, excuse me, on the ultimate. We have the knockback reduction and the cooldown normalization on that E as well. Instead of having a raging cooldown, it's 18 seconds flat. They're lowering the AD ratio on the E as well. And in turn, we have resistances on our W to make us tankier. So max that second. Our Q now has an added stack. Added AD ratios, but minus 20 base damage at max rank, which means you're significantly rewarded for building damage, which is obviously what we all want. And we always want a Hecarim that can disrupt, engage, destroy, and deal damage, but the enemy team can still feel like, hey, listen, I can kill this guy. For the last year or two, it's really been a case of, look, he runs at me, I die, and I can't kill him because he's building chem tank and things like this. So let's have a look and see how we do. We obviously have the buffed Nocturne on the enemy team, which will have his own video, surely, very soon. This one is going to be very much a Hecarim show. The damage, as you will see from the runes on your screen now, Conqueror rune set plus unflinching and conditioning. Good rune set, don't go phase rush. His team aren't going to do too much, so we'll have to really pull out all the jungle tech we know to make sure we can carry this game, and the build is going to be very interesting. Now, Divine Sunderer, your Morph Mortis, your Death Stones, your Mana Moon, these are still going to be good items. These are still going to be your core itemization. However, there are going to be some more avenues for build parts that you could look to use. Don't forget, the Zada GG guides for my different champions are up on Zada GG now, plus a whole bunch of new ones coming tomorrow. Hecarim will be in the next batch as well, I can promise you that one. So we have a good assortment all covered. Links below for that. We're going to start on the blue here, solo into Grump into Wolves. We're obviously against a Nocturne, and if he's pathing in the opposite direction, we will be away from him, which will give us a standard 28 CS for Clear plus Crab. Here's the Nocturne now, using Prio is the Azir to get this ward on the Raptor Pit, which of course we enjoy. Maokai, you guys know me as a Maokai guy. Most of you are still starting saplings, and it's kind of showing because the win rate doesn't look very good. So once I've really made the tech, you can still do saplings, Raptor solo stuff, by the way, into Q sapling on the red with a smite. That's a good strategy, but we'll talk about that in another video. For now, he is support, which is a bit silly because that whole sapling spam thing is gone. It does scale differently now. Hecarim in the meantime. Full clear. You know, when people fall clear, I tend to think about other things, but Hecarim is pretty much absolutely standard. The important thing here is the added stacks that we have now as well, and we can keep those rolling. The Renekton, despite this nerf here, has a bit of prior on the Aatrox, also an Eclipse of Joya. We're most likely going to see the Nocturne go on down to the bottom side, so let's just gallop this up a little bit using our top prior. We get this one. If Nocturne shows bottom lane, which I think would be expected here, ooh, we got a trade going on. Can we dive this, perhaps? Could be possible. We do have Ghost. We have to make sure we hit the E. No flash on the what's his name? Aatrox. Here we go. Boom! And, damage nerfs are not going to make that impossible. That is still going to be very, very much possible. But when this is active, remember, that 15 armor magic resist now is absolutely huge. Okay, and this bonus resistances go up to 35. From 15 to 35 as you level it up. So you're going to be very tanky when it's active in those fights as well, to make up for the fact that building tank is now suboptimal. Nocturne, in the meantime, obviously does what Nocturne does. This ward is the exact ward I want. Now, Renekton's placed this one. We saw that. If you're the Hecarim and you kind of look to float these areas and you're able to place a ward here as well, please do so, because we want to see this. We want to see the Nocturne go for that second Grump. Back to base here, Ionian Boots of Lucidity plus tier has been achieved and gained. Nothing's changed in that regard, I can tell you that much. Again, keeping those stacks up. 3, there we go. We have in a bottom lane pushing up a little bit. Sapling is gone. Pike is going to check this. We could look to do something here, but again, with Hecarim, remember, you want to be reliable, old reliable with your sequencing. And here we go. Q does hit with a Giga slow and percentage HP damage on the Maokai now. See, this is a bit more... Like, I understand what the bottom lane was doing, I understand what he was doing, but the wards that can be placed by the Maokai, the saplings, Misfortune is very, very strong. This is a noble attempt to get out ahead of tempo on the Nocturne who's going to be sequencing down, but if you waste too much time now, you're just compromising your entire sequencing tag. So you could have easily looked to do this and maybe loop in, or just full clear and reset and come down again. You know, you've got a lot of options. He's really investing in this now, and I think this is a complete waste of time. It is a great lane to snowball and gank. Let me just reorder this, but the uncertainty here. This is rank 1 Hecarim, by the way. On EU West, this is very clearly a Smurf account as well. You know, you're much better off just sequencing here. You know, and you see the pings on the Nocturne. We know he was coming down. There's no way the Nocturne's going to cut his clear short. when he knows it's warded, when he knows it's warded. So if the Nocturne knows, hey, the Maokai went ahead and warded that, the Hecarim is not going to be there, I'm not going to cut my sequence, I'm going to keep farming, which the Hecarim should have done, because now we'd be in a position to do something about it. So this is a big time waste, and it's important to note that that was too long of a time waste. Pike's not going to use a bit of roaming, obviously, because that's what he wants to do. We can obviously go and dive this. He's 6 now, though, but Flash is still not up. We might have to compromise on this with a bot lane reset. And, of course, we're topside, and Nocturne is sequencing down, so we are going to lose it, but we are blessed with this RNG crab on the top side here. Let's see how we go. All right, 3 points in queue at this stage. We're kind of shadowing the Fog of War, just cradling it just a little bit. Again, a lot of wasted time here. Looking for these ganks, and this will happen if you're farming jungler. You will see these moments where you kind of struggle to find that window of opportunity, and you decide, you have to decide, do I want to stay bot lane? Do I want to keep sequencing? And oops, boom. See, now the Nocturne goes down, so we could just go steal the blue, but we're going to try and do things here. We have E charged up. We do have ult. Are we going to want to waste it and use it? Let's have a look here. Oh, she goes back in. All right, so we got 2 stacks up, and it's going to fall off very soon. And it falls back down to 1, so you don't lose the stacks, right? It goes down from 3 to 2 to 2 to 1, and then it falls off completely. So you're able to maintain that a lot better when you're farming in a team fight. And now everyone rotates to the mid lane. Saplings again, I understand why people don't like this, but that's why they nerfed it. Now Nocturne's going to the top side, so this is a lot of, I don't say loitering, but this is what it feels like at this stage. Here we go, Aatrox is moving. We're gonna miss that ult again. This is a good Hecarim player, all right? And this shows you the difficulty in terms of trying to find those opportunities sometimes. We still have to carry the game, so. All right. Misfortune kills on the Lucian, which is expected at this stage. Let's see if she goes the Veigar V2 tech with Leandries, but it doesn't look like she will at this stage. And we can hold this wave, obviously. We could look to do something about this, or we can wait for the Lucian. Pyke does the hook, so we will go in for it, force the flash out. Now we can gallop, 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 gallop. Start stacking, keep going. Remember that W now gives those resistances as well as its previous functionality. So that's a very, very tanky button. And we have the Renekton here pushing on the top side. And so yeah, it's a tanky button because it gives you the resistances, obviously, but it gives you that healing from the damage you do and the damage your allies do. That scales with bonus AD as well. And obviously does a little bit of magic damage as well. Just, for a bit of diversity, as it were. So now we're going to fall back up to the Grump and the Wolves. Nice little quadrant sequence. We see here the Azir going mega knockup mode onto the Akali, who repositions, goes in, and will survive just about. Hecarim is rotating here, obviously. This is what you're very good at. This is what Hecarim's very, very good at in lower elo games. So when you're using Hecarim, please, if you see these moments, cut in, use your E, get into the fight, right? Get into the fight, use your E, use your R, get those gap closes going. And because of the new stack fall off, much like Rengar's quality of life on the Veracity that we've had over the years, before it used to just never fall off. It has to, for obvious reasons. Because you only lose 1 stack each second there, you can just keep at least usually 1 or 2 stacks, which is why at the bottom here I said stack, stack, stack. You don't necessarily need to if you still have 3 stacks from the Grump. Now you move on down, maybe you lose 1 by the time you get into the fight, but you're still operating as if you have 2, right? See here, for example, we have 3 now from the red. We go straight into the Herald here and it stays. We auto attack it to refresh it. We hit the Scuttle to keep it also still at 3 stacks, maintaining that. And now if we go to the mid lane, and we attack it before 1 second is up, you've kept those 3 stacks. So that's really, really huge, I think. And I don't think people are thinking enough about the Q stack mechanism in terms of how you move around the map. I think it's pretty strong and potent, actually. We're going to go back to base here, but as I said, the key thing about Hecarim, yes, this is all a good buff and everything. Yes, he's going to feel nice to play when you go with a more AD fightery focused build. But you still have to play Hecarim the way you would play Hecarim, right? You got to farm, you got to look for those opportunities, you got to scale. You're not looking to waste time and play like a carnival jungler. So he's wasted a lot of time not sequencing in this game, but at the same time, it's a very tough game to get going here. We're only 4-2 at 10 minutes, and you're kind of trying to shadow the Nocturne's ult, which we know at this point is down. We'll be up soon, but it's not quite up yet. Watch this, okay? See Fog of War, very important. Boom. We have Ghost available. We can charge it up. That should be a dead Maokai. We do get knocked back there by the Q Bramble Smash from Maokai, but lateral movement, back in, okay? It's people always with the misfortune kind of run in the same direction, laterally, right? Walk out of it, don't walk with it, okay? You have to be a salmon in that regard, not just doing the regular stuff. where you kind of just go with the flow up and down the stream. So off we go. Nice little kill, good activation, nice lane gank. Hecarim's really good at lane ganks. I'm surprised I don't see more lane ganks with Ghost. He didn't even use the Ghost in the end here. But perhaps some low HP targets would like to get fisted. Let's have a look here. We have the blue smite as well, which allows us to keep that, I was going to say gap close, but I meant like keep that distance to the enemy AD carry, specifically when they have movement speed and dash ability. But if she has no flash and no way to proc it because she's got no mana anyway, yeah, she was never surviving. So these little cleanup kills are huge, and all of a sudden, 5-0-0. The patience is rewarded. Shouldn't have been necessarily, you know, especially here, but the rest of it was good, methodical, and was definitely a case of, hey, let me see if I can gank here. Okay, crap. You know, let me see if I can herald and gank mid lane. Okay, I'll base. So that was a better execution of that. Much better than sort of like waiting for the Nocturne to eternally show bottom lane, which means you're giving him a full second sequence while you don't do your second sequence, you know? So definitely a stick in my brain is that decision. All right, here we go. We're going to get one stack here very quickly from the Krugs. We're going to gallop into this one here. We still have that one stack, so we can build it up to 2 stacks, 3 stacks. That is an auto attack dead Aatrox, and the Nocturne ganks on the bottom side here. Obviously, he has snagged the Herald with that time, and we didn't get the Dragon. So with the loss of the first Dragon and the loss of this Herald, you might even have to give up the second Dragon here. It's okay, my sons and children and daughters and every one of you. It's okay to give up 2 Dragons plus a Herald. I do it all the time when I play more tanky, less high econ junglers who just don't have the ability to farm and get into fights quickly, all right? Sometimes you will just lose that pressure. Sometimes you will gank your bottom lane, but they're so low, it's so high on gold, they have to reset. Could we do the Dragon? Sure. But since Dragon durability update takes too long now, it's not really worth the time invest in terms of your own experience and gold gain. So we'll give this up here. That's absolutely fine. We'll get an RNG Scuttle, which again, now 119 gold, catching up on Krugs. Very, very much a Krug camp of soon at this game. You know, once they both level 9, it's basically, it literally is a Krug camp for a fraction of the time that it takes you to take it. We'll do some counter jungling now, knowing that the Nocturne will most likely have to reset after that gank bot lane, Herald bot lane, Dragon bot lane. And we can yeet away some experience. Again, now we're level up, 10 CS up, small gain. Maybe we could try something here, but of course there's no wave. Aatrox is moving on down to probably steal the Grump himself, misses his E, which is actually quite hilarious. And now you're just sitting in a twirly-whirly W fisting zone of the Hecarim in a funnel point, and he can just kill you and chase you down. I mean, that's because he has this. And I didn't even mention it because we're talking too much about the jungling. But yes, Eclipse Hecarim, lots of Giga damage. Eclipse is so much better than Gold Drinker in a majority of cases, okay? Because the Omnivamp is actually higher as well by lower by 1%, but it's not that much. And you get the passive armor penetration as well, which is absolutely huge on things like Hecarim when you want to build more damage now. And yes, Divine Sunder is the best way to go, but in this case, look at what we have here. Nocturne, yes, he's a bruiser, but not too much CC other than the Fear Tether. Akali, squishy. Misfortune, squishy. And the Maokai, yes, he could be tanky, but he's choosing to be squishy, which means full-on assassin mode for Hecarim is activated. And because we can still go into beautiful things like Death Stunt, like Morpho Mortis, like Black Cleaver, you can have enough HP resistances and with your W resistances coming together as a tankiness factor that you can actually afford to go the Eclipse if you want to. Now it's going to be more finesse, it's going to do more damage, but you're going to be more liable to death in a high CC comp, you know, against a tankier comp where you're going to get chained together and you need that healing component, you need that HP, you want that sheen. Yes, definitely, Divine Sandra. But against a squishier team comp now, Eclipse has this definitely more viable, it's definitely more viable. There you go. I'm always looking to extend the sentence. Like, I'm looking to extend sequences in the jungle, but yes, you get what I mean here. And obviously, you know, the lethality and the attack damage is great, and the build path is great for spiking. Lethality, you know, Serrated Dirt for spikes are absolutely huge, but people are not thinking about it as much. Here, look at the squishiness factor. You know, enemy champions who can do a lot of damage, you do lose a lot, right? And yeah, we can heal, and yeah, we can get the shield from this, and we have the Omnivamp, but you are susceptible to those burst procs, all right? So you have to play accordingly, but that's why Aatrox likes it as well, right? The Omnivamp is basically the same. The difference is negligible in terms of champions that build it and can also heal themselves, which is a lot of them, actually. Here we go, trying to gap close that onto the Misfortune, who uses a Gale Force to reposition. Maokai uses the enhanced speed of his roots to really hit the pike there. He now will get blown up by the Nocturne, who gets exhausted and slow, but it's not enough. Now, Lucian is activating his ultimate. Maokai is still chasing down here. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Swoop-de-swoop, twirly-twirly. Back in E onto the Akali here. Again, stacks are raging. Stacks are raging. She repositions. So annoying to stick to. So annoying to stick to. Here we go again. Probing with that E. I think that's such a good idea too. You just use it, make them think you're gonna go. Why are you sitting in the bush? Here we go. Don't overcommit though, because again, we're squishy. We have sustain, but we're squishy. That is a very important concept here. The lack of HP is pretty substantial. We don't even have 2,000 HP at this point. So you have to keep it in mind as we're building into the Black Cleaver here second, which I think's fine because we've got Renekton. We have here the Pike as well and the Lucian. So with our bonus damage from the lethality and of course the Eclipse, plus our team, that stickiness factor, the haste is absolutely beautiful, and the HP of Black Cleaver plus the armor shred are beautiful things that we like to use. We don't really need resistances at this point. We do need HP though, because we have resistances. See, that's the thing, right? When you have resistances, it can alter your build path a little bit. That's why you know, you can build that HP because you have that resistance passive. Pike, beautiful hook. Over the wall. Here we go. Activate the E. Lunge. Hit. Boom. I always say twirly whirlies. I can't get that out of my vocabulary. Here we go. We're getting a little bit too deep, but hey, you get a good example of all of a sudden how we were 2-0-0 struggling, and a few minutes later, we're 9-1-0. So, pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let's respawn. Come on, let's go. Let's look at the real effects of the damages here. Right, so we have Black Cleaver and Eclipse. So just for reference, hopefully you can see that there. Yes, you can. You're looking, oh, that's W, excuse me. Q, there we go. We're looking at 289 damage plus 95% bonus HD, AD, which is now 160 at this stage. And if this ability hits, he gains that stack. We know that, which reduces its cooldown. We know that as well. It increases the damage by 4 plus 6%, 80 for 8 seconds. Okay, so we are basically, those are the numbers you're looking at with Eclipse plus Black Cleaver. Now, if you choose to remember these numbers, good for you. Usually, I like to look at the number once or twice just to get a conceptual understanding of it. But I usually play from muscle memory in terms of builds. Because it's much easier to kind of think about that. There we go, in and out gameplay, trying to avoid the Aatrox's relentless knocking up of our joke that I won't say. And now we're going to keep those stacks up, still at 3. Keep going, still have W. Healing, Force of Flash. Ease up in 7 seconds. Okay, close with the Renekton. Pike is looking, oh, Pike actually gets the Aatrox. Here we go, now Misfortune will have Flash up at this stage. Will she decide to waste it? That would be absolutely stupid to waste it. Good, she didn't. If you're dead, don't waste it. And now we get a dragon. So once more, the classical story of if your lanes are struggling, if your lanes don't have those windows to get those objectives early, it's okay to give them up, provided you are getting something else. Top scuttles, maybe a top dive, maybe some counter jungle blue grub. Maybe I'm just doing a full sequence while you spend your time doing a dragon, which gives me an experience and gold advantage the next time we meet. The whole point though is once you get to the 3rd dragon, you just want to be potent and strong enough to actually win those fights, okay? Let's have a look at the E damage at this point with the decreased values between 160 and 321 at this stage with this build, and obviously W and R scale with AP, so we know that well. The damage does. The healing's obviously 80 based. So now we have the Akali pushing the bottom lane here. We are fully stacked and ready for a Murmana conversion. I think there we go. And now the damage is even more. See, this you can still go. I'm seeing some chem tanks with the Murmana, and resident Hecarim One Trick in the Discord was upset at seeing these chem tanks in Phase Rush. So if you want to tilt him, please join the Discord and build Phase Rush chem tank full tank Hecarims, even though you just lost your base damage and the AD ratio is increased. Don't do it, because you're just going to cause yourself to lose. Rather build Divine Sundra. Don't do this unless you know exactly what you're doing, because you see the squishiness, right? You are squishy. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I don't think this is necessarily going to become like #1 viable playstyle, but it is a strong build against squishy comps that you can annihilate. But bear in mind, they can annihilate you as well. Azir is 1-2-0. You know, I love Azir. I really, really do. The champion, I always wanted to be good at the champion. Just don't have the, I mean, 1, I don't play mid lane. 2, you can never jungle him. And 3, you see Azir's with like 350,000 CS, 1-2-0, and they're like, yeah, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this game. Are you really enjoying this game, sir? Is this really something that it just gets you going? And they're like, yeah. I like game control, right? I'm like, if you say so. If you say so. I'm excited for the Aurelion Sol rework. Definitely going to be something I will be pulling in the jungle for sure. I can guarantee you that. Because I already did put it in the jungle on release, and even it was in this challenger montage I made 2017 before I made guides. I just made some fun montages for editing practice. And there was an Aurelion Sol one, kind of made a story montage basically. And it included mostly Challenger and Master Tier mid lane Aurelion Sol one tricks, but also slapped in a whole bunch of jungle footage, including some of my own jungle footage. And yeah, those were good times. We could do more in the jungle back then than I feel we can now. Look at this shadowing. Azir pushing, taking, putting the soldiers into a bush, shadowing just in case there's a collapse and saying, no, time to go back to base once more. What do we have? 877. So at this point, you could go chain verse. Exactly right. Exactly right, because we want the DD. And we're noticing we're squishy. We have a bit of HP from the Black Cleaver. We have a hell of a lot of damage right now, but we do need some resistances added up with our W to give us more beefiness. Now, we didn't actually max second in this game. I do feel like that's fine against your squishy comps, but I think there's been a lot of talk about maxing the W second because, yeah, the cooldown is no longer flat, but 16 to 14 instead of 14 at all ranks. The E now doesn't get that cooldown bonus, right? It's a flat cooldown 18 at all ranks, so you don't get that benefit. And because the base damage is the same, but the AD scalings are nerfed, you're getting less value from updating it. But we'll see the data. I'm not a one trick, so I will always defer to their sort of feel on this, but there will be differences. You know, if you're going to go Divine Sundra, definitely W will make a lot more sense because you're less an assassin, right? And E, even though the AD ratios were nerfed, they're still substantial when you're building Eclipse and things like that. So do keep that in mind, weigh those pros and cons, play around with it as well. I always encourage you guys to test these things. Don't limit test. Test them, mathematically, scientifically. Look at the win rates. Look at what other people are doing, like in this game and other games. Double sapling power! Yeah. That is a very different sapling. I can tell you that much. Thank goodness, too, because my favorite tree has been, you know, I had a 60% win rate in like 200 games in Season 7 playing Maokai Jungle. It wasn't even meta, I loved the champion, and of course we had Ardent Center bot lane meta. Sounds similar. Chanters, bot lane meta, dragons. Exactly. So I would just spam camp bot lane and win con it. Damage. Damage, my friends. I mean, she doesn't die because she's... she does. She didn't die because she's a Kali, but you see, damage, my friends. That's what we're looking to do. All right, nice hook there. We try and dive into the Aatrox and repositions, but it doesn't really matter. Now the Azir knocked back the Misfortune, who then flashes, and then Gale Forces, so we know both of those are down here. Can we go around? Can we do something? Can we force a chase? We do have the power to do something about it, should they overcommit here. Dragon is spawning though. I don't really want to give that up. We choose to reposition, which I think is probably prudent in this situation. Renekton is now fighting the Nocturne, getting super low. Here we go. Onto the Maokai. I haven't tracked the Maokai's build yet. He's going standard AP stuff, so he should be pretty squishy at this stage. Misfortune does kill the... There you go. Oh no, that's so unfortunate. Well done. You know, for a champion that's not meant to be mobile, she moves pretty fast, has a flash, has a Gale Force, and then she has plants all around the map. I mean, there's never been a safer time to be an ADC main. And so it is a skillful position. Your positioning is all on you. If you don't position correctly, it is on you. But there are more than enough tools now for ADC mains to reposition themselves and not die so much. But again, that's only if you know teamfighting and teamfight spacing. Spacing. Right. Long game. 12-2-6 all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, but methodically and slowly. Nicely done. Aatrox is now splitting on the bottom lane wave here. You're going to see the damage. Match histories to all these games are always linked below in the description. You will see the damage. Basically, the damage chart is going to be up here. You see Hecarim. And you're going to look down, look down, look down. There's going to be nothing but Hecarim for like 20 or 30,000 damage points. Really obscene amount of damage you'll see. And that's because while we just did a hell of a lot in those fights, you're going to see a lot in the finishing moments here. So Lucian takes our Krugs, which is not always the best thing, but you know, we're rich, we're doing well. What do we have now? 2,300, could have based, but why when we don't really need to? He's forced to smite that. That's great for us. Ping that, track that. Watch out for the saplings here. They are still going to burn you a little bit because of the shift in the ratios, but they're not going to they're not going to max HP burn you, you know, which is nice. See, like it still does damage, but it doesn't do nearly as much. He's still viable support, but I haven't really thought much about bot lane defender Maokai support, you know. Definitely think top lane is pretty strong. Jungle, I'm going to optimize it, but I do think it will work. Did a game before the changes too. Last night, and the clear was beautiful. Muscle memory just came back like this, but it's completely different now. Being chased by saplings. I mean, Shadow Isles bros, I guess. Nocturne is going to ult in and try to get in. He'll probably go onto... Yeah, he does that. We're in the back line. Let me just start. I was looking at the whole team fight here. Let's just focus on the Hecarim for a second. But the Nocturne is now going to go obviously on the Zornias. I thought he might go on the Pike actually, but I don't know if he loses vision. So we're going to focus on the Akali here, make sure we blue smite to get the slow. We get that E knockback there, and we keep auto-attacking and twirling as much as we can. And then obviously the Pike is able to kill the Akali. Now we're being chased down by 3 people. Pike is now dead. We're going to alter repositions. That did not go the way we planned. That did not go very well, did it? Your job is more of an assassin when you play like this. You know, taking out priority targets and so on. You're not going to run into a CC comp like this one. There's still a lot of CC. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this red. We'll get the added benefit of the burn damage. We have 1 smite, so we can't smite it. We just want to snack it here quickly. Wait, bide your time, bide your time. Ah, they're turning. But was this a mistake to turn? We reposition out of the Aatrox W, back into the bush. We keep attacking the Maokai, who's now repositioned. He's stunned, he dies. Now they're taking the Baron here. We use the plant to reposition over the wall. Here we go, E-charge, straight into the middle of it. A double swoop, double kill. Well then, they regret that, I think. And 8 seconds, right? On that shield, on the passive. I mean, why build Gold Drinker when you can build this and do this much damage? As long as you understand positioning a little bit better and you recognize, hey, I'm missing, 300, 400 HP. Trying to ult and fear the Akali. That fear duration, nerf is where you feel it in these fights, definitely. It was 2 seconds at max, and now it's 1.5, yeah. So 0.75 to 1.5, just wanted to check that, because a lot of changes. I try to memorize as much as I could. I think I did a good job. But yeah, that's a really great example of that Omnivamp, the healing, the resistances. Let's have a look at some of the data here. We got 3,358. You can't see this, but the replay will be up for the next 2 weeks. So 3,358 health carved so far. We have here 1,744 damage dealt by Eclipse, plus damage blocked, almost 5,000, 4,874. And of course, Death Stones we've just bought. And damage dealt to champions on the Mirror Man, 3,707. That is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage amp from all of the items working together cohesively. And because we have added healing from the ratios and the building of AD and the resistances, you can afford to do these things. I think I'm waxing a little bit too much about it. I do think Divine Sunray should be a go-to. I don't want to get a whole bunch of Eclipse Hecarims in my games later, please. I don't think you guys can pull it off unless you practice it once or twice and really learn that different flow. But hey, go for it in a normal or flex game first. See how it feels. Here we go. Charge into the top lane. Someone is over pushing. Of course over pushing. Top lane is always over push. Kill for the Pike. And now, of course, we have here 1,700 in the bank. We can go and get our Mortius. 2 dragons are available. I mean, these are great dragons for Hecarim as well, obviously. Movement speed passive OP. There are some, of course, more tanky renditions where you kind of go into your dead mans and things like this, but again, squishy comp that we can deal with, that we can sustain. They're not really cohesively fighting outside of the Misfortune and the Maokai. There's not the same kind of cohesion with their ults and their kit. Kali dives backline, Nocturne dives a bit. Okay, we had a big fight and then I smacked my mic. So we're in the back of the Dragon Bit here, and we're gonna use our E and R to reposition. Now you can see, in amongst 4 people right here, right? Look at this. So much damage. The Morph is such a big ass shield. They cannot deal with you. They cannot deal with you. That's a free dragon. That's gonna be free inhib. Aatrox wasn't even there. It doesn't even matter. But the repositioning of the E and the R it's nice to see with good Hecarims. All right, you're not just using it in only one purpose here. We just use our E to get out of the pit. We use our R to reposition into the back line. They coalesce around us like this, and our team plays around that. It's beautiful. It's really, really nicely done. And we'll look at the final stats in a second. Let's charge that. Woo, Pony got some damage here. I mean, that was 3,000 healing. We got it, and now it's 3,000 healing. Literally, 2,980 healing. 5,000 damage plus on the Merman. Oh, these damage builds when they work are so fun. And this is why I think it's going to be a little bit disgusting with a more normal build, because, you're still going to have enough damage to kill everybody, but you're really going to be unkillable in that sense. There's obviously risk when you go full on squishy here, but as you can see, just an easy triple kill. So much damn damage. 20 kills in the bank, and now they can close the game out. So there you have a 30-minute game of an Eclipse Hecarim from the changes. Hopefully a good example of how to use the stacks, plus how to position with team fights when you're a bit more squishy. You'll see the match history, how much damage you did. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and comment if you enjoyed and learned something, and like horses, or just fast things. Main channel video tomorrow, best junglers with a tier list. I'm sure Hecarim will be on it, and as always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.